Donald Trump Jr. arrives to take stand in father's fraud trial. Donald Trump Jr. has arrived in New York to testify in his father's $250 million fraud trial, which could topple the family's business empire in the city. The former president's eldest son will be the first family member to take the stand in the case accusing the Trump Organization of inflating their wealth and assets for decades. According to the lawsuit, Don Jr. and Eric were involved with drawing up fraudulent financial statements, allegations which they both deny. The lawsuit states that Don Jr. was the person who certified the financial statements after his father became president in 2017, at which point he and Eric took over the running of the Trump Organization. Donald Trump Jr. has arrived in New York to testify in his father's $250 million fraud trial, which could topple the family's business empire in the city. Trump did not show up in court on Wednesday, but took aim at Judge Arthur Engoron in a post online which read, "Leave my children alone, Engoron. You are a disgrace to the legal profession." Don Jr.'s appearance marks the start of a blockbuster week in the trial, in which the judge has already ruled that Trump and his real estate business committed fraud. Eric Trump, who runs the Trump Organization, is due to testify after Don Jr., followed by Trump himself on Monday. Trump's daughter Ivanka is due to testify on Wednesday. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than prosecutors claim that Trump and his family falsely inflated and deflated the value of their assets to get lower taxes and better insurance coverage. The trial is to determine the penalty, and the New York State Attorney General is seeking a $250 million fine and sanctions to effectively put Trump out of business in the state. Prior to Don Jr., the court heard from David Horowitz, a former Trump Organization vice president who oversaw the deal for the old post office in Washington. Trump's lawyer Alina Habba arrives at the court for testimony on Wednesday. The former president stayed away from proceedings. The court heard that Trump saved $168 million in interest on 4 properties over the past 9 years from false financial statements given to lenders. McKeel McCarty, an investment banker who was the prosecution's banking expert witness, showed the court his analysis of 4 Trump properties: Doral, the old post office, 40 Wall Street in New York, and a Trump hotel in Chicago. They showed that Trump made millions of dollars each year from significantly lower interest rates which were awarded based on the bank relying on false financial information for the Trump Organization. The court heard. Time equals 400 Ms. greater than between 2014 and this year. Trump saved $72 million in interest on the $125 million loan for Doral and $53 million on the $170 million loan for the old post office. He also allegedly saved $17 million on the $45 million loan for his Chicago hotel and $24 million on the $160 million loan for 40 Wall Street in New York. The analysis showed that the interest rates Trump paid were far lower than he should have done. In 2015, Trump paid a 1.9% rate on the Doral loan but should have paid 10%. A graph of the loans showed that amounted to a $10 million saving that year on that property alone, the graph stated. McCarty called Doral a turnaround project, that it would have required significant investment to turn it into the Gulf resort Trump had planned. He is a former senior vice president of acquisitions and development at the Trump Organization who oversaw the development of Trump Hotel, the old post office hotel in Washington, then quit a day after it opened in 2016. Horowitz had worked for Trump for 8 years, but the acrimony of the opening, which resulted in 2 restaurant deals falling apart and protests at the site, appeared too much for him. After Don Jr., Eric Trump is expected to testify about allegations he provided false valuations for the Trump Organization's estate in Westchester. Ivanka was once a party to the lawsuit, but an appeal court dismissed her from the case as the state's statute of limitations barred the claims against her. Judge Engoron has ruled that Trump must sell some of his most famous buildings, including 40 Wall Street, but an appeal court has put it on hold until after the trial is complete.